What's up, guys? Today we are at science, and we are going to the hallway. Come on, guys. Now let's go. We were late. Like way past. So, lucky Matthew gets to leave when his father came.
Yeah,
Look at those Nimrods. She's already coming.
Y'all niggas not allowed. What's up, y'all?
Hey.
Why you keep the door?
Yeah. Are you kidding me?
Which I still think is not an appropriate way for a middle school teacher in Ypsilanti to describe anything, so I'm not going to. Oh, good. All right, so backing up to page 98, it seems that this page is really important. So if you did not do page 97 on blood types, I'll let you do that on your own. It's not very hard. What kind of graph is it?
Yours right here.
There you go. See, a piece of cake. And then following that page 98, pre-melted, go to 98 real quick. On page 98, I understand you guys did not do page 98, is that correct? Okay, so page 98 is really important. So let's pause from page 100. And I want to thank probably like the 10 of you that actually went ahead and just did the reading on page 100 without any sort of advice or anything. That was beautiful. So page 98 though, let's go back for a minute.
Go back.
Because on page 98, go back from page 100. There are two questions. One is simply, if you're given data and they say, hey, make a histogram, what is the very first step that your brain is going to go to? What is the step that your brain's going to go to if someone said, hey, make this histogram? Well, after you get over the don't do it part, you know that you have to, so you do anyway. So what's the next step?
Procrastinate.
Okay, so Alina said she might make tables. Alina, guess what? I'm going to actually give you the table, and I say, here. Oh, labels. Excellent. And what is it that you're labeling when you make the graph?
Hey, what page are you on?
The section.
The X and Y axis. So the very first thing you do when you're given data would be to say, hey, what labels am I going to put on this graph? If you're making a histogram, which requires you to divide information into groups.
Are we answering this?
Yes, page 98. Answer it in the book.
On number one?
This is number one, yes. This is number one on page 98. And it says, given this data, basically how you're going to make the graph. So some people think, what are you going to label the x's? Some people think numbers. And some people, it was interesting because even though none of these histograms did this, some people said we would start with the smallest number and go to the biggest. For example, going back to the cow graph, where you look at that graph and you see that it's by color, right? But it's like this. It's up and down all over. They said if they had been given the chance to make that graph, they would have actually put the red cow first, because that was the smallest number. And then they would have moved on up all the way to the gray form of the cow. So sometimes when you make a graph, there is no wrong answer as long as the information is still conveyed. When it comes to a histogram, the reason it's not a bar graph, what's the difference between that histogram and bar graph? Why is a histogram not
They're different
the
things.
same as a bar graph? Okay,
You look.
raising your hand. Jaden, what do you want to say?
Instead of like one solid number or name, it's a range.
Excellent. So there's a range of things across the body. So when you do histograms, the first thing you want to think of is, what range am I going to use? So Jordan, you need to write this, okay? So the first question is simply,
Oh, man.
you might say, what to label the axis? You might say, what range am I going to use? One thing you can do is like, what are the bins? What are the organization? How will I organize it? That's pretty much how you should face any graph assignment, any math assignment. How do you organize it? That's step one. And then you make the graph. Now I'm asking this question and I'm saying it's super important because in about 2 to 3 weeks you're going to have a test in here on this entire green book. Now, Amari, I realize you came in late to the game, but guess what? Pretty much everything that we have covered since you've been here is just a deeper and deeper level of what we already have started with. So, look, the test is 25 questions, and it's going to be really tied to the things we did in the book. But going back to the book, no, not all multiple choice. Some of it is, but it's a lot of short answer and stuff. But going back to the book, like for example, you have to make a Punnett square. So you have to have some idea about dominant genes and recessive genes. You've got to have some idea about capital B and little b, and how do you model an allele? How do you model a gene? And then you make your Punnett square. And then you have your Punnett square, and then you can move on and tell me what are the chances of these parents having all their babies look the same. Well, you look at the Punnett square and you say, oh, they're all green or whatever. So that's part of it. So a lot of it is stuff that the book has covered, but like the book basically is like stacking papers on top. The papers on the bottom are the stuff that you pretty much have down because we've covered it. It's the building block. The building block, like the vocabulary, which you should be making sure you take some time to make sure you understand your vocabulary. I will be giving you a lot of study guides, so I will give you a study guide for this test because I really want you to do well, and I want to guide you into making sure that the things that we've done in here are what we're going to see on the test, okay? So we'll make sure that happens before it happens. And I know you guys are trying to finish M-STEP and all that. I think you're done with that anyway, so you have NWEA, which is no big deal. Piece of cake, you guys can do that. I also have to tell you, actually have a state standardized science test that you will be piloting in another week or so too. It isn't, because starting next fall in 9th grade, you guys are actually going to be taking, no longer will you use the M-STEP, you're going to take 2 tests. You're going to take one in the fall, one in the spring, and you won't do spring, you won't do these big M-STEP kind of tests. The good news is that in theory, you'll know your growth compared to the state standards, which I think is important. Because right now, all you know is your NWEA stuff, which is national stuff. That's what the N stands for, and NWEA, national testing. Yes. National. I don't know. I don't think it stands for. But national is the N. NWEA. NWEA. I can say it fast. Because NWEA is way cooler than
I'm
okay, yes,
done.
Selena.
Does this test go inside the grade book? Like,
The test. Of course you do. Alina, it's probably going to be quarter fours, big jump. Probably be 80% of quarter fours.
I can't take the test.
Actually, it won't be 80% because there'll be 2 of them.
No, I'm not English.
Oh, see, I can translate all my tests to Spanish. Actually, it does do that. Hablo español un poco. I can probably translate your test.
Wait, you know
Yo entiendo mucho, pero yo no.
What does that
I don't
mean?
speak much, but I can understand. Okay, because I took 4
Habla
years in high
español,
school, 2
mama.
years in middle school, and I passed out of the test in college. 2 years of foreign language in middle school, and was French and Spanish. Yes.
They checked in June or May.
It will be in next grade. But we'll also take 1 and 2 because it's not like we're just going to be done. I don't know. It'll be in the first couple grades. Oh, guess what? Guess what, though? We actually are going to do a unit on physics after this. Just a little one. Physics is
You've been cracking your knuckles?
regardless,
Let me
you
try.
can always make it up yourself. All right, we got one last question on this page, and then we got to do the other page, which we're already behind. The second question.
This is our regular teacher, Mrs. Buckwalter.
And I love this question because this is the whole reason I became a biology major when I was 18 years old. Because the idea that when you look at an organism and you look at their adaptations and their traits, and you think, why? Why does an organism have that adaptation? I look at something like A bird. The bird that I know there's a bird outside right now. He's got a nest over. I see the stupid thing go back and forth. It's a starling. Because starlings are cavity nesters. Okay? That means they nest in holes. They nest in holes. A cavity is a hole. Like a cavity in a tree or a cavity in a building works fine too. So, when I was a kid, when I was 18, I wanted to know why living things behaved the way they did or looked the way they did. And so we can go back to the second question on this page, and it says, after looking at the variations of traits in humans with their blood type, cows with their color, fish with their size, and snails with their different colors and different stripes, we looked at all of these living things. The question is, what would be the advantage for any one of those things to have that variation? Because one thing I know, living things do not survive unless there's an advantage for survival. Most of the traits we have because they help us to survive. And by survive, I mean go back 2 million years to where humans were just starting out. You can, but your grade is not up there, sweetie. We don't have your hours up there. I don't have your hour up there because I haven't graded anything. So.
It says 1, 5, 8.
Right, that's right. You guys are not one of those. There's no 7. Sorry, there's no 7. And also, you know why you don't have any grades? Is because you actually do the work regardless of whether I grade it or not. Which is fine, because I really could care less about grades. I care that you do the work. Now, those students on the wall there, they care more whether or not they get a grade. So, in other words, I have to grade every single thing I sign up, which is kind of a pain in my butt. I have stacks of things I have to grade, and they have to look at their grade all the time. The good news is that most of you in this class have a sense of intrinsic success, that you have seen the connection between just paying attention in class and doing the work and doing well on a test, without getting a reward for every single page that you fill out in the book. And for that, I'm most grateful, because I really despise grading everything. Now, for those of you that are not filling out every page in the book, it's not to your advantage. That's a disadvantage, because you're not doing what you should be doing. And when I do give you that test, and you go, I know nothing about striped snails, because I never did the page about snails and flowers and such, then you're going to be in trouble, because the test really says specifically. Stuff like, what is the advantage? And this, by the way, goes back to the question on page 98, because I'm trying to help you get filled out. Right back to that. If you have the brown snails and the yellow snails, what would be the advantage to being a brown snail? Now, think about it for a minute and tell me what. Tell me what. Kayla, your hand went up really fast. What do you think? Oh, listen to that beautiful 4th grade science word of camouflage. Absolutely. And I'm not, Kayla, I'm not repeating your word. Most of us learned that word in 4th grade. Camouflage is the environment that snail lived in was brown. That's right.
We're gonna see you. Don't worry, we'll see you guys later for another new video.